Welcome, everyone. So imagine this scene, a busy hospital, maybe right here in Los Angeles, a city just brimming with different cultures, different beliefs on every corner. And inside, there's a family facing one of the toughest, most profound decisions possible, end of life care for someone they love. But it's so much more than just looking at medical charts, right? It's about these deeply held spiritual beliefs, sometimes clashing. It's about different generations maybe seeing comfort in totally different ways, and just the immense emotional weight that lands on everyone involved. So our mission really in this deep dive is to pull back the curtain a bit on these incredibly personal things, spirituality and family dynamics. How do they really shape this critical journey of end of life decisions? We've sifted through quite a bit of clinical research, firsthand accounts from hospice folks, and the goal is to extract those key insights, cut through some of the noise for you, give you a shortcut to understanding not just what these factors are, but why they make things so complex, sometimes even surprising. Okay,
Okay.
let's unpack this.
Yeah, and what's truly illuminating, I think, from all the material is just how far beyond these strictly medical these conversations really go. Our sources, they just consistently underline that these decisions are, well, intensely personal, deeply emotional, and profoundly shaped by culture. They show that spiritual beliefs and all those intricate dynamics within a family, they aren't just side issues, they're actually pivotal forces. They guide and, yes, sometimes they complicate how people navigate hospice, palliative care. What's fascinating here is just how interwoven these two things are. You really can't tackle one without understanding the other.
That makes sense. And it gets particularly interesting when you focus first on spiritual beliefs, right? Because for so many people, this isn't just like an add on, it's absolutely central to their identity, their whole worldview. It fundamentally shapes how they see death, what their final wishes might be, the kind of comfort they're actually looking for. And the sources we looked at give some really vivid, specific examples, like take Christian families. They might ask for a chaplain, sure, for prayer, but there can be this profound focus on the timing of sacraments, like anointing of the sick, what many call last rites. Sometimes families really grapple with, when is the right moment, especially if someone's condition is fluctuating. That brings up some delicate ethical points for the care team, too.
Mm-hmm. Delicate is the right word.
Or think about Muslim patients. Families often have very specific wishes about Islamic burial rites, and maybe even a hope for death to occur at a particular time, say after a prayer call. That can influence decisions about medical interventions when they're accepted or maybe when they're withdrawn.
Yes, those timings can be very significant.
And then you have Jewish families. The sources point to this deep commitment to rituals like reciting the Shema prayer, or the custom of ensuring the body is never left alone until burial. That often involves a shomer, a religious volunteer staying constantly with the deceased. That kind of dedication, I mean, it presents real logistical challenges in a hospital or hospice setting, right?
Yeah.
Scheduling, space.
Absolutely. It requires a lot of coordination and understanding of the staff.
And for Hindu families, wishes might involve specific rites like chanting or performing rituals aimed at ensuring the soul's safe passage, which again means healthcare providers need to be aware of and ideally facilitate practices that aren't part of standard procedure. So it's clear this kind of spiritual care, it's not just about making someone feel a bit better, it's about honoring a deeply held worldview. Here's where it gets really interesting. Seeing how these specific beliefs require navigating some pretty significant practical hurdles sometimes.
Exactly. You've really laid out how central individual beliefs are. And what's fascinating is how these beliefs then get filtered through the family unit, which, as our sources consistently show, often has the most direct, most immediate impact on the day-to-day decisions being made. This raises an important question. How do families, with all their history, their complexities, find a way to unite when facing something so huge?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It really is. And the sources show these family conversations, well, they're a delicate balancing act. Several things influence this. Generational differences. For one, you see this quite a bit. Maybe a younger generation is really focused on comfort, on dignity, maybe even questioning aggressive treatments, while older generations might hold on to more traditional values, perhaps emphasizing prolonging life at all costs. That can cause real friction.
Yeah, a clash in what a good death even means to them.
Precisely. And it's not just age, it's that core understanding. Then you layer on cultural norms, especially visible in diverse places like LA. Some cultures see decision-making as a collective thing, a family responsibility, maybe led by an elder. Others really emphasize individual autonomy. And if those approaches collide within a family, or between the family and the healthcare team, you get misunderstandings, maybe even power struggles.
You can see how that would happen.
And we can't forget the emotional toll, the caregiving burden. Our sources really highlight this. Caregivers are often exhausted, they're grieving already. This can lead to immense stress, tension, feelings of guilt, maybe resentment. And paradoxically, sometimes this leads to decision paralysis or families changing their minds at the last minute, even if there were clear instructions before.
Wow, yeah.
And this is where hospice professionals, those sources really stress this, becomes so critical. They often have to step in and mediate disagreements. Maybe it's about life support or where the person should receive care. They help families navigate these incredibly complex emotional dynamics.
Right, which brings us straight to that intersection you mentioned earlier, where the spirituality meets the family dynamics. That's where it can get incredibly intense.
Exactly. That's the crucible.
What if you have, say, conflicting spiritual views inside the same family? Maybe one sibling is deeply devout, another is an atheist, and they're trying to decide about spiritual rituals for a parent who perhaps never made their own wishes crystal clear.
Oh, that happens?
The source material shows how that creates enormous tension, because suddenly it's not just about a medical choice. It feels like it's about the parent's soul or their legacy.
Precisely. The stakes feel incredibly high.
So what does this all mean? For the patient, obviously, but also for their whole support system.
Yeah, what does it mean?
Well, I think it really shines a light on just how vital those hospice professionals are, especially, say, the hospice chaplain or the social worker. They're not just there for the medical side or even just one-on-one spiritual chats. They often become these crucial mediators.
The bridge builders.
Exactly. They facilitate those really tough conversations, help the family find some common ground, maybe align on shared values, even if beliefs differ, make sure everyone feels heard. And that kind of approach helps ensure the patient's wishes, whatever they were, or whatever can be best determined, are honored in a way that also respects the whole family's complicated emotional and spiritual reality.
That piece is so important, respecting the family's reality.
It just underscores how vital compassionate communication is. Helping a family, even with all their internal struggles, kind of pull together, present that united front for their loved one.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, what really emerges is this view of hospice care as genuinely holistic, truly whole person, whole family care.
Right.
It's not just about managing physical symptoms, important as that is. It's about attending to the entire person and their whole family system. Our sources detail that multidisciplinary team, right? You have chaplains, and they're not just for religious people. They offer spiritual and existential support to anyone grappling with meaning or seeking peace.
That's a really key point.
Then the social workers, who are often just masters at navigating family conflict, helping mediate decisions, connecting people with resources they desperately need.
Absolutely essential.
And of course, the nurses and doctors, working meticulously to make sure the medical plan actually aligns with the patient's spiritual and emotional needs, not just the clinical picture. Hospice, at its best, fosters that open dialogue. It honors cultural values. It provides that steady support through every stage of a very difficult process. The aim is really to guide families through this incredibly challenging time with as much dignity, love, and understanding as possible.
That sounds like the ideal.
And the ultimate goal, as the research keeps reinforcing, is always respecting the patient's wishes, supporting the family through their unique journey, and honoring all those diverse beliefs and values along the way.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it's just so clear that navigating end-of-life decisions is, well, it's incredibly complex, especially somewhere as diverse as Los Angeles. But what our sources have really, I think, beautifully illuminated is that when we deeply recognize how much both spiritual beliefs and family dynamics matter, and when we provide that thoughtful, integrated support, like through hospice care, it can make such a profound difference.
An immeasurable difference.
Yeah, it really can transform what might otherwise be a time of just overwhelming distress into a journey that feels more marked by peace, by understanding, and hopefully by shared love. So thank you for diving in with us today.
And perhaps just a final thought to leave you with, something to mull over. Considering this incredible tapestry of beliefs and relationships we've been talking about, how might proactively engaging in these difficult conversations, before they become urgent, how might that not only ease the huge burden on families, but also help ensure a more peaceful and a truly personalized final journey for the people we love?